by Holly Beauty Partners is a collective of hairstylists, makeup artists, and fashion stylists who bring beauty services to the masses. So we are not just licensed hairstylists, certified makeup artists, but we are also beauty consultants. So we want to make sure that we are always connecting our target audience look that resonates with their target audience. The secret sauce with Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners is we are not just a collective of beauty professionals, we're also beauty consultants. So as we're meeting with our clients, we're educating them on their skincare needs, their holistic beauty needs, so that we can help to make sure that they are always armed with education and training that can serve them no matter where they travel. We are now partnering with the brandpreneur, and we're so excited to be able to do so. So as he's meeting with his clients, we want to make sure that their look can resonate with their target audience. 3 words to describe our brand are luxurious, beautiful, and professional. I am Byrd Miller, and I am a brandpreneur.
Welcome back to another episode of the Randy Wilson Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Wilson. This is episode 55, and we have Byrd Miller with us today with Makeup by Holly. We're going to get into that extensive bio here in a second. But first, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button right now. You're more than welcome to follow this show on any podcast channel except SoundCloud. For some reason, they don't rock with the podcast. They don't upload my stuff. But we don't, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple, you can find us everywhere. You can also find us at randywilsonpodcast.com. Please hit that subscribe button and follow Randy Wilson Podcast on on Instagram as well. This is Virginia's #1 podcast for hip hop culture and dialogue. And we are excited today to have Byrd Miller for a lot of reasons, okay? A lot of reasons. First off, it's a lot of artists that follow this show, a lot of creatives, and Holly is going to be able today to add significant value to our lives in giving us just more ways that we can contribute to making ourselves look better, feel better, and maybe, guys, she can provide some suggestions to your wives or your loved ones in regard to some things that may be available to them during this holiday season. So again, Holly, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Randy. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm a huge fan of the show. And so I'm just happy to be on the other end of the mic. So thanks for having me.
Holly is my big brother's wife, by the way. Okay. So for all you guys out there who are animals, I know she's nice to look at, but don't look at her too hard. This is family. All right. This is family. So make sure you guys behave yourself. Let's get into this bio, Holly. My goodness. I mean, I love it. Go check out makeupbyhollyb.com. That's makeupbyhollyb.com. Authentic, beautiful, talented professional with over 25 years in this industry. Holly has done things all over the globe. She is global. And Holly, one of the things that stood out to me, and I didn't even realize it, and I've known you a long time, but I just didn't realize the involvement that you have had with people who have worked with Oprah Winfrey. Can we just start right there a little bit? Talk to me a little bit about your involvement in grooming other industry professionals up. And I don't want to just say makeup, because there's so much more to it than makeup, hairstyling, a lot of things. But let's just start there. Like, you got 25 years of experience in this industry, and you've worked with some folks who've gone on to work with some incredible people.
Yeah, I've been really, really blessed and fortunate to be surrounded by some of the best. And I'm a firm believer in no matter what it is you're doing, no matter what your profession, your career, if you want to achieve success, then you need to mirror and or surround yourself with successful people. And so I have done that on the corporate side of things, as well as in the beauty industry. So some of the folks I've actually had the opportunity to work one-on-one with are Derrick Rutledge, who is Oprah Winfrey's current makeup artist. So I trained with him one-on-one, and am really, really fortunate to call him a friend. He's just a phenomenal person inside and out, and an amazing artist. So I've learned some tricks of the trade about makeup artistry, as well as the business of being a makeup artist, which is vitally important. I've also trained one-to-one with Reggie Wells, who was also Oprah's makeup artist for over 20 years. And so he taught me a lot about color theory and also about the business of being a makeup artist. I've also worked with Sir John. I've actually taken Sir John's master class in New York, and he's just a phenomenal person. He is the mastermind behind Beyonce's signature looks, and Chrissy Teigen, and Jane Small, and just some notable others. So really, really fortunate to be to have learned the artistry as well as some of my business acumen from some of those really great makeup artists.
Holly, anytime I believe that any of us get an opportunity to speak or communicate or just, I guess, whatever the case is, present ourselves to the world, I feel like it's always an opportunity for people to get familiar with our story. And there are a lot of people who follow the show that are familiar with you, but there's going to be some people who's following the show that may not be. So can we go back just a little bit to kind of help people get familiar and acclimated with how you got started in this industry?
Sure. So I alluded to my corporate experience. So I have 27 years of corporate experience in sales and marketing and business development. And so I have worked in the corporate sector and in a professional environment for all of my career. And so I learned a lot about just image and what it took to be an image consultant just from that experience. As far as the beauty aspect, I have been doing makeup for over 25 years. And it started with a passion that ultimately grew into a profession and a career. So I've been really fortunate to be able to hone my passion and turn it into a lucrative career. I started my business about 8 years ago in parallel to when I was still working in the corporate sector. And that grew from just, again, my peers, colleagues, people in the industry as I was traveling all over the globe in my corporate job, who would always ask me about my makeup or ask me about my attire. And so I was giving tips and tricks even when I was working in the corporate world. And so I decided about 8 years ago, I should really start a business and see how far it could really take me. And I've been amazed at some of the places that it has taken me. It's taken me international to Japan and other places throughout the globe. And again, it just kind of grew from a passion that ultimately I found out a little later on, it was my purpose. And I'm so fortunate to be able to meet with men and women all over the globe to help them with their image, their style, just their look, helping them to kind of curate signature looks and helping them with their brand awareness, which are things that have just been near and dear to me for, like I said, over 27 years. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And now here we are. I mean, yeah. the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I just have to say, and Floyd, I hope I don't say anything that upsets you throughout the show, but I'm a friend of Holly's, I'm a friend of the family's, and I remember when you got started off, and I remember some of the conversations that I had with Floyd, and I think this is good for men, particularly who are listening, because Floyd and Holly, both, they're entrepreneurs, and as a friend, listening to Floyd and kind of observing from a distance, you take that journey. I watched him grow through the process. I watched him have some maybe fear at one point about the experience. And then I remember the day that he told me that you completely had stepped away from corporate America, and he didn't display any anxiety. He was, at that point, he was fully confident and showed me the belief that he had in you and your journey and your process. And he's saying you turn it into dollars. And I just want to share that, because I haven't ever told you that, but I'm sharing that with you. And I'm also sharing that for the purpose of men or women who are listening and have a significant other who's going through an entrepreneur process and meeting their destiny and actually living their purpose. And I think that's the most beautiful thing that's came from this process, is not only are you touching all people across the world, but you are happier than you've ever been. And I don't think that there's any makeup that you can put on your face that's going to make you glow better than how you glow from knowing that you're fulfilling your purpose and passion every day in your life. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Randy. That really means a lot to me. And you are spot on. So to piggyback on what you said, having a supportive partner who understands when you are walking in your purpose and walking in your destiny is vitally important. You feel like you can conquer the world when you have that support system. And I'm so glad I had that in my husband. He has been supportive from day one, but just for financial reasons, he said, you know what, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, there are just certain things you have to have in place to make sure that you are set up and you structure your business accordingly to make sure that you can sustain the level of income that I had been accustomed to, again, working in the corporate sector for over 27 years. I was an executive and I was in leadership. So there was a certain lifestyle that I had become accustomed to, a certain salary, things of that nature. So we were very, very strategic on how I departed from my corporate job. It wasn't just a fly-by-night decision. And I said, you know what, this is, I want to now enter the beauty space, which is a very saturated market. I want to now enter the beauty space, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to put in my 2 weeks notice and I'm going to leave. No, it was something that happened, honestly, over the course of 2 years, if I'm being really transparent with you. Floyd and I had the conversation. He said, let's make sure you have your business plan, you have your strategic plan. Let's follow that plan to the T. And he said, prior to departing from your corporate job, make sure that you have systems in place, the technology in place, the infrastructure in place, have your client base in place, all of those things in place, so that when I walked away from corporate, I didn't miss a beat. I was very, very, very blessed that I walked away and have not looked back, because my 401k traveled with me, so that helped give me a little bit of seed money. I also had a savings, a business savings and reserves that I was able to tap into to make sure that I could keep up with the operational costs that are associated with the business. I still have my medical insurance and dental, all the things that I was accustomed to, but it took 2 years of planning to make sure that I had those systems in place before walking away.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that, because there's a lot of people out there right now who need to hear that. You can't just jump out and, yes, you do have to some degree, it is a jump, but you want to make sure that if you fall, that the landing is secure and that you don't just, bust your ass, for
Absolutely.
no better words.
Absolutely.
So Holly, let me go back to those folks you mentioned that work with Oprah. So, if I'm correct, I think you even went to Japan, correct? Just tell me a little bit about how are you within the industry? How are you nurturing the relationships from the seeds that you've planted and have grown and done those other things at the same time? How do you navigate your approach toward making your brand global? We live in Richmond, Virginia, but you've obviously done a lot of things across the country. So can you just share a little bit, how do you approach that?
Absolutely. I believe in the value of networks, making sure you are aligned with like-minded people who are part of your network who can help you grow. So I am really, really fortunate that I've fostered great relationships with people in the beauty industry, as well as, at some points I've had business coaches, I've had mentors, people who have helped to make sure I'm continuously moving towards my business goals and making sure that I have strategies in place to get there. So I have the opportunity for Japan was a blessing. So I was working with a business coach at the time, and I told her what my goals were. And I've always had lofty goals. When I was working in corporate, I had very, very lofty goals and metrics that I had to meet. Very, very lofty. And so I set those same level of expectation for myself in my business. And so one of the things I shared with her is that I wanted to be an international makeup artist and to do what I do and to be an international speaker and to do what I do on a international level. And so within the first month of working with her, we were able to get there, but it took a plan. So nothing can happen by chance. I don't think that anything just falls into your lap. Success is earned, it's not given. And so I was able to set milestones in place to help me get there. And like I said, within a month, I was speaking at a women's conference in Japan which was an amazing experience, a life-altering experience. I'll never forget it, as well as providing makeup services for those female executives and entrepreneurs who were attending that women's conference. We provided hair and makeup for those women as well. And so I'm very fortunate, again, that I have people in places and positions and networks that help me to reach my goals. And and I'm always just continuing to push myself more and more.
With the industry being so competitive, do you feel like how frequently are you able to recycle back through the same rooms that you touch? Or are you continuing to more just expand?
Oh, good question. So I believe that expansion is good, and there's a certain level of that you want to do to continue to grow. So every year, and you're sitting down, writing your strategic goals, and writing out your plan, you should incorporate a certain percentage for a new business. But there's also the existing business, right? And making sure that you keep your current clients. We work with CEOs, entrepreneurs, corporations, brands of all sizes, from startups and to existing businesses. And so it's really important to continue to cultivate relationships with those existing clients and making sure that you're meeting and or exceeding those needs, but staying in touch with them frequently through email campaigns and phone calls, and just staying in touch with them to find out what are your current initiatives, what are your current needs, and being apprised of the industry trends so you can make them aware of where the industry is going, parallel with making sure you understand their needs so you can advise them on how to get there. So for us, we're in the brand space. And so when we go in and we're having discovery calls with our clients, we want to understand what's your brand, who's your target audience, who are you trying to reach? Like what does your brand stand for? It really helps to understand your brand extremely well. And just as important, it's really imperative to understand who's your target audience. Who are the people that you want to get their attention, because everyone's not your client. But once you identify who they are, then having a signature look, having a signature style, making sure that your hair, your makeup, your wardrobe, your videography, your photography, which are all the services that we provide, align with your brand and your target audience so that you have a consistent look and feel and you're getting those people's attention time after time after time. And you don't want to neglect your existing clients because you're going after new clients. You don't want to neglect them because there's the 80-20 rule where 20% of the population is going to support your business 80% of the time. So you got to make sure you are continuously cultivating those relationships and meeting and exceeding those needs, staying in touch with those clients so that you're top of mind. You're not going to be an afterthought. When they need hair, makeup, wardrobe, videography, photography, they're going to call Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners because I've been on the phone with them. I send out email campaigns. I'm doing all those things I just mentioned, and I'm top of mind and not an afterthought. And so that's how you can continue to have those relationships, have those networks, have those opportunities and experiences time after time after time, because you're putting in that type of work.
All right, we're gonna play a little game, okay?
Okay.
Trust me?
I do, absolutely.
Okay. But first, before we do that, I wanna make sure, give us the broad, I want our audience to know that, and you jump in and tell me here if I'm wrong, but I don't want anyone to feel limited as a possible recipient of your services.
Okay.
But if they need to, then you let us know. We know that you work with CEOs and executives and artists, and I'm sure weddings.
Yeah.
This is like the obvious. What am I missing that you may work with?
So, again, everyone's not your target audience, right? So that is a good question. So we have two segments of our target audience. So we have our brides. Mm-hmm. Okay. So brides, typically our brides average the ages of 25 to about 55. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty broad range, but we get brides, bridal requests daily from brides who cover that age range. But then we also have the other segment of our target audience, which is professionals. So again, they're CEOs, and they could be CEOs of any industry. It really doesn't matter what industry, but they're executives, their CEOs, their executives, their managers. They are literally the face of their business. So anyone who is representing either their own business or a corporation or organization, those are our ideal clients, because they're the ones who want us to curate that signature look and help them with that brand awareness. So hair, makeup, wardrobe, videography, photography. So that's kind of our, just to hone in a little bit more on our target audience. That's who we cater to. And that's anywhere from micro businesses to small businesses.
Okay. And so that's a great answer. That's part of the game, because there may be some people, like I have a lot of artists to follow, which they are the face and representation for their brands. And so today, what I want to do is figure out how maybe you can sell your skill set and your service to a rapper or a musician or a drummer or a comedian, who may think that, they may think that they got it going on when they do what they do for themselves. They may. And they're probably not, they may not have someone in their corner, such as yourself, to some degree, that's going to be able to really be critical and objective in the ways that they may benefit. So how could you help an artist, rapper, musician, comedian? How could you go to them and say, hey, and you can even use me as an example, but before we could do that anyway. We do that second. But how could you convince them that your services are something they need to consider? And what is the and where would they start with the investment, I guess?
I love it. Great question. And we do actually have clients who are artists, and I'll name them just because I'm super proud to work with them. So we have a local artist that we're working with by the name of Jarrell Crockett. He's an R&B sensation. I love his music. I work with Jarrell on all of his campaigns. Like, I have literally been the artist behind all of his campaigns. Whenever he's going on camera, whenever he's on TV, he's on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Whenever he's doing any of that, he calls me to get him camera ready. And so what I will say to, as well as comedians, I've worked with Micah Bam Bam White to get him camera ready as well. So what I would say to those creatives, to those artists, rappers, whomever you are, again, when you're the face of your business, I don't even care if you're the swaggiest of swags, whatever. Everyone has a certain image that they want to. How you carry yourself, and how you carry yourself on social media as well as in person, in the streets, whatever. But it's also your wardrobe. It's also your haircut. If you want to be the face of your business, then you always want to put your best face forward. And so that means that you want to appear that you have it going on. You have your appearance. You take pride in your appearance. Even if you're wearing jeans, they're clean. They're not dirty. Your sneakers are clean. And I know you fellas, you're going to keep your sneakers clean. If nothing else is clean, your sneakers are clean. Your whole presentation is tidy. It's put together. It doesn't mean you're in a 3-piece suit and a tie, but that you really take pride in your appearance. So you're clean, you're coordinated, so your outfit, your color schemes are going to match. And depending on if you're going on camera versus if you're doing a marketing campaign behind if you're going on video versus photography, there are certain colors that are just going to resonate better than others. Like white does not show up well on camera, for example. White is going to make anybody look bigger than they are. It does not really show up well on camera. If you need to wear white, make sure you put a blazer over it. I don't care if it's got some color or some patterns to the blazer, but just put something over it just to make sure it's not so the color just doesn't make you look unflattering. So making sure that your nails are trimmed, making sure they're not dirty. That's really important. If you are an artist, a rapper, whomever, if you're going to wear a watch, maybe you want to wear a blinged out watch, because that's going to make it look like you have achieved a certain level of success, even if you haven't gotten there yet. So it's really all about like putting forth a persona or an image that you want your target audience to connect with you. You want them to look at you and say, wow, he looks successful, or she looks successful, or they look like they have it going on. And whatever your target audience looks like you do the research on your target audience just like they're doing the research on you. Whatever they look like, then you kind of need to mirror that to a certain extent, right? So knowing your target audience is what is he or she, how do they dress? What do they drive? How much money do they make? What is their education level? All of those things. There are certain keywords that are going to resonate with them when you're typing content on your website and in social media. All of those things really make a huge difference in your brand and your overall image. I hope that answered your question. I'm happy to kind of dig a little bit deeper as needed.
That was great. That was definitely, and that's going to be post-worthy right there. I think that is a good tutorial to help bring somebody in to understand how you could contribite to them. Now,
absolutely, we can work with everybody. You did ask about price point. I realized that I didn't really get into price point.
That was my next point. So can you kind of help set someone's budget up?
Yeah. So, I mean, we work with, again, like I said, we work with startups. So we realize when you're a startup, sometimes you don't have a lot of capital to invest into your business. So we really do sit down, and it's a very customized approach. So we really do sit down. Typically it's me who sits down with the client, either virtually like what you and I are doing, or over the phone. Since we're in this COVID world, we're not really face to face. But I will sit down and do what's called a discovery call. And in that discovery call, I'm going to ask you very pointed questions about your brand and about your image and your target audience and all the things, your brand colors, your brand like words, like, you know, to really help you with your brand identity. But then also it's going to be a matter of like, what is your budget? What are you working with? What are you trying to accomplish? And, you know, and we'll try to create a plan that's centered around your budget. And again, we have, you know, the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe, videography, photography. You can get parts and pieces of that, or you can get the whole package. Of course, if you get the entire package, then it's going to be more advantageous. So a package for all of that would start around $1,000. But if you don't have that right now, you can start off a little bit smaller and build towards that. Like I said, any of those services or all of them all at once. So we really do work with our clients to make sure that they have a brand they can be proud of and that their image kind of aligns with that. And like I said, just helping to understand that overall brand awareness. So one of the things as far as Makeup by Holly Beauty Partners, our value proposition is we're not just beauty professionals, we're not just videographers, photographers, brand and beauty experts, but we're also consultants. So we're gonna sit down because this is the space I've been in, specifically in the brand and beauty space for 8 years. Understanding brands, we've worked with hundreds of clients around the globe. So we feel like we have a really good sense on what brands need, especially startups and micro businesses to kind of get going. And then once they're going to even elevate their brand, especially with social media and how important and how prevalent it is right now, just making sure you have images and you have text and content that really helps people to help you to get the attention of your target audience. You really have about 3 to 5 seconds to get their attention. If you don't get it in those 3 to 5 seconds, they're going to swipe past you. So we want to help you do that. So we don't want cost to be the only thing that you're looking at to make a decision in working with us. We really want to try to work within your existing budget.
Yeah, that's, I was talking to, in my last show, telling someone, like, we're telling an artist, actually. I said, you know, I think that, and this is kind of off the point, but it meets what we're talking about, artists who are constantly putting new music out, and they're not giving the consumer an opportunity to get familiar with the most recent project. You're like, oh, and check out my next out, and I'm like, we're in this society. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. We are in this society. It's not a time where, in order for someone to like click on, you're gonna have to pop. It's gonna have to be something special about you. And if not, you're just gonna get scrolled right on by. You mentioned something there, but thank you though. I think that was great. I think that was great. I think that we are going to be referral sources for you just based off That right there. Someone is going to inquire about your services. And I think you did a great job at helping them be able to see that, you know, you can start anywhere. I mean, it may be that we just begin with cutting your nails. Okay? We may just have to start with cutting your nails, cutting your hair, grooming, and, you know, maybe consulting, getting your mind in the right space. But later on, I mean, you can hand your wallet over to Holly and she'll go shop for you. And, you know, she'll get you straight. And I'm sure that these things will help contribute you to getting a bigger bag, you know, because if you want to get the part, you got to look the part. And
I could not agree more, Randy. You have to look the part. I mean, I'm sure you all have heard the saying, you know, fake it till you make it. Sometimes you have to kind of fake it and make your brand look more elevated than it may already be, but you'll get there. We can help you get there faster because, again, we've worked with hundreds of clients. We know what it takes to get you and hit the ground running. And so, I mean, just because you aren't necessarily banking 6 and 7 figures doesn't mean that you can't look like you are. And my team of experts, I assure you, can help you look like you are. Like, we will absolutely get you there. We'll make sure that when people see you on social media, and that just, you know, depending on where your target audience resides, whether it's LinkedIn if you're a professional, or if you're creative, maybe it's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, wherever they reside, you are going to get their attention. We're going to make sure that you get their attention because you're going to be somebody who's so visually interesting. Then they're going to stop and they're going to click and they're going to say, well, what does this person even offer? Like, I don't know what they offer yet, but I see enough that I'm interested. And now we're going to dig a little bit deeper and see what's their skill set, what's their talent, you know, so forth and so on.
All right, I got a question for you. You're the professional, you're the expert, okay? So as long as you've known me, and I've known you since, I think I met Floyd in 2008 or 9. So I've known you for at least 12 years. Yeah, at least 12 years, somewhere in there. 11, 12 years, something like that.
Maybe you had hair when I met you.
Well, this is the thing. I've never had facial. No, I wish I did. I've known Floyd since about 2008, 2009. Okay. I think 2008. And I've not had hair since 2003. But I've only had this facial hair for like a couple years, year and a half, but it hasn't grown any, and it will not grow any more than it's grown, okay? So my wife thinks that this is the look for me because she says it makes me appear more, she feels like I'm easier to receive. I look more friendly from her perspective. Now, obviously, you're not going, I know that you're not going to say anything to contradict my household life, but I'm looking for your professional. So if you say something that does, oh, well, you're operating in your space. I mean, you can do that. So don't worry about Mia right now, okay? Don't worry about her because this is really not me. It's not. It's not. However, I've tried to do it to, make her happy, but
Art man.
but it's not really me. And then this is the thing. I do see what she says in regard to how I could appear maybe more friendly. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think my natural, if I smile because it's something funny or I'm happy, that's one thing. But I don't think I give off a natural, I'm happy look. Personally, that's my opinion. I don't think a lot of people say you look serious. I've heard that all my life. You always look serious. Or you look mad. It could be any of those things. So what is your take on the facial hair? Is it a pro? Because the beards are in now.
They are.
But is it a pro for me or not? Give me your honest opinion because I'm really close to shaving it off anyway.
No, I like the beard for you for a number of reasons. One, it does make you look, it makes you look really professional. It makes you look a little bit older. I think without the facial hair, you look a little more youthful. And it just kind of depends on who your target audience is. And we've had conversations about who your target audience is in the past. And I think based on that, because that's what you always want to consider, right? Who's your target audience? When you're in a service-oriented business, you want to make sure that you know who your target audience is. And so you are a professional, So your beard makes you look professional. It's well groomed. Don't just have a beard and have it look unkept if you're catering to a professional audience. I'm sorry. It's just, you're going to look messy and unkept, and it's not really going to resonate with them. But I like that it is well groomed. I like that it is, it still allows me to see your face. So it's not like you don't have a vibe like you're unapproachable. I don't think you look overly serious. I think you look just, the right amount of serious. I think you look confident. I think, a number of things. So I am in favor of keeping the beard. I think it really serves you well for who you are in your brand. I think it really serves you well. Just make sure, again, I can't stress enough, keeping it well groomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it's a matter of just, trimming, because it's not a lot going to grow. It's not really, I cut here, cut there, cut off the lip. It's not really a lot of growing.
But I've seen some men who have like patches of hair when they're trying to grow it in.
Yeah.
And they have products for that. So if you want it to look a little fuller, they have products where you can spray or color to make it look a little fuller. And I've also seen on the opposite side, men who looked a little disheveled and they had like lint in their beard, or it wasn't combed, the hair wasn't combed, especially if you have maybe curly hair and the hair wasn't even, and it was just a mess. I'm like, if you're gonna wear it well.
Yeah. So, wow, like this is good conversation, because I think it's contributing me to asking real authentic questions. I had some things I wanted to ask, but we're going in a space that I really need to ask you this, and I think there's other people that need to know this as well. I work in a predominantly female-dominated industry in my daytime work. Mm-hmm. So I have had to learn how to address certain things without making it sound like it's an emotional thing, or like emotional is the wrong word. There could be emotional things, but I can address them without it being so like gender focused. Because I work with all women, so the worst thing I can do is mess that up, because I am successful because of all the great women I work with, right? But when it comes to like professional dress, okay, whether we're talking about women or men, and in this situation particularly, I'm thinking in the back of my mind about a gentleman that I work with who I really, like, my boss really wants me to tell him some things that are really difficult to tell someone. And so like it has to do with like appearance though. And so, I mean, you're the professional in that space. I almost feel like that's an area where, I don't know, do businesses ever reach out to you and ask you to come in and kind of talk to a group of employees in regard to things? Because like I have some, like we wear a uniform. Well, most of my employees wear uniforms because it just allows things to be consistent. But some of them are not required to. But some of them don't, and they don't realize how bad they are portraying themselves in the workspace. And honestly, I've always been a brutally honest person. It's always been easy for me to just say the hard things. But to tell someone that their breath stinks, to tell someone that the lint balls on their sweater are just like horrific and your clothes are way too big, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy for me to say. No. How do I get better at that? Other than just say, check out the employee handbook, because I mean, the way they interpret it may be different.
Oh, it's true. I mean, you can show the handbook to 20 people and they'll interpret it 20 different ways. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really important if it becomes a real problem to bring in an expert to do a workshop, and that way no one person feels singled out, and you're speaking to the entire staff. And you always want to just keep corporate culture top of mind, and you want to model what their attire should look like. I mean, because people are always looking at leadership for everything. They look at you for ideas, they look at you for innovation and helping them to determine goals and the direction that their organization and or department are going. your attire is the same. So how you show up is most often how they're going to think they should show up, or at least something really close that aligns with that. And so I do presentations on the university level as well as for corporations on just corporate culture and just how to dress for the workplace. Also, I do presentations on executive presence. Those are two words that are people are starting to use a lot more, but it's something I've been doing for 27 years. Even when I wasn't in management, I always dressed because I wanted to look the part. Mm-hmm. I always put pride in my appearance. Even when I didn't make a lot of money, I just took what I had and dressed it up as best I could. I always think if you have a black or a blue blazer, you can pretty much dress up anything for the most part. Have a pair of brown shoes and black shoes, work those until you can't work them anymore. The same as with your slacks or your skirts or your dress shirts. You only need a few pieces to create a nice look. And that's in any, no matter what your industry is, to be honest with you. You always want to dress for the part that you aspire to and not for the position that you aspire to and not necessarily for the position that you're in.
Yeah.
And I think, bringing somebody in to kind of talk to them, if you're not comfortable talking to them one-on-one, bringing someone in to talk to them, to the entire department and or corporation is a better way to handle that, so that nobody feels singled out and feels bad about it. And some people, I've seen things going a lot more casual. It used to be business casual, but it seems like we've dropped the word business and now it's just casual. And even on Zoom meetings, especially with us working from home and teleworking, we see people on Zoom meetings who are in t-shirts, and even executives who are in t-shirts and shorts, or they're in their car and they don't have their video disabled. And so you can see them driving or they're walking in a park or whatever. Just not professional. I'm sorry. It's just not professional. And so what's happening is their subordinates or whomever are talking behind their back about did you see how they were dressed, how they showed up? They looked like they just rolled out of bed and they just threw on something and came to the meeting. And that we have to get back to a place where that's not okay anymore. People need to really take pride in their appearance, because I have a motto: if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you do good. Yeah. Now, when you look, feel, and do good, you're unstoppable. You are unstoppable. The sky's the limit. You can accomplish anything you set your mind out to, but it starts with having pride in oneself and really putting your best foot forward.
And I'll share with you, I think, what part of the problem with that is, and it's a motto that I've been speaking for a long time. Labels conceal more than they reveal. So there's a lot of people who uphold or who possess titles that are, prominent executive and president, and I can say all kinds of words. There's a lot of president terms, and a lot of people who uphold those terms, but there's nothing presidential or nothing about them. And so because that is the world we live in, and also, let me back up. And I know that you're not implying this, but I think that in the world that we live in, and this is a cultural podcast, the word professional has been, that can be interpreted a lot of different ways. And I think part of the reason, I think that within our culture as Black people, okay, and you're like, here I go, yes. And you can be, look, you can do the right thing. It can look right. It can sound right. It can feel right. It can be right. All of those things. But to some people, it still may not be professional. And that's because a lot of people's perception of what professional is has been dictated under white supremacy. And so I feel like there are a lot of people who struggle with doing right, because they feel like they're going up against what someone else feels is right versus what's right. Well, listen, right is right, wrong is wrong, and you do need to be mindful of how people perceive you. I think we live in a society now, Holly, where everyone is just concerned on behalf of but that ain't how I see myself. And the people around me that are yes people or friends of me who all see me the same way. So it really doesn't matter what other people say. We're professional over here. Well, if you're trying to get that contract, or if you're trying to get in that space over there, you're going to have to start caring a little bit about what other people think. So just my 2 cents.
No, absolutely, Randy. I mean, again, if you're a brand, if you have a brand, you have a business, whether you're selling products or services, people do business with people they like and trust. And people do business with people who most often have similar interests or, or looks or something to theirs. And if you don't care what people think about you, then okay, then don't have a business.
Yeah. Because
you are going to rely on those people to buy your product and or your service. And so you want to make sure that you are putting forth, again, that your brand is on point, both professionally and personally. And honestly, I think, they're kind of one and the same. How you represent yourself on a professional level doesn't vary that much from how you represent yourself on a personal level, in my opinion. Because social media, it shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Because social media, it's a free resource. Everyone has access to it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, no matter what, TikTok, whatever it is. So everybody sees, the world is watching. Yeah. The world is watching. They know what you're saying, what you do, who you hang around with, what you do, I mean, it's all out there. And so if you don't care and you have a brand and a business, that's a problem.
That's so true. I mean, when I interview someone, I go check out their Facebook.
And employers are doing the same thing.
And I go check out their LinkedIn. And if I see a drastic difference between, on their LinkedIn, they're so professional. And then, over here, you got all of your body out. It's a tough situation. Holly, I don't want to hold you too much longer because I understand people's attention span can go. I do want to ask you a couple more questions, then we're going to end with a game that we do with all of our folks at the end, okay? How has COVID impacted your business?
Yeah, COVID, it's been a tricky wicket for a lot of people. For the first couple of months, it was touch and go because 100% of our business, and the first couple of months after COVID was really identified as a thing, right? So March and April, 100% of our business was shifted. Clients were rescheduling on the corporate front as well as brides. But thankfully, after May, we started, picking it back up again. All of my beauty partners and I are safety and sanitation certified. And so we were making sure that we put those practices, they were already in place before, but we really ramped them up to make sure that our clients and our customers felt comfortable that we were going to protect their safety as well as our own. So, sanitation is key, making sure we did all those things. We have our PPE before going in to see each of our clients. Everything we needed to do, we put in place. And so after that, everything, swung into full gear. Honestly, we had a record year on the bridal front, thankfully. We did switch, we pivoted. That's a key word everybody hears, right? In this year in particular, we pivoted. So from not only doing mobile hair, makeup, wardrobe, videography, photography services, but also virtual. So we ramped up our online education and training. And so even if we weren't able to sit with our clients face to face and talk them through and consult with them on all of their branding needs, we're doing exactly what you and I are doing. We're on Zoom sessions talking them through how to do that successfully. Partnered with some big institutions around here like Sona Bank and the Metropolitan Business League, the Jackson Ward Collective, some of those really amazing organizations and associations to make sure that our brand was still top of mind for everybody and letting everybody know that we were still here and able to meet their needs, whether virtually or in person. So we've been really fortunate that we've been able to do that. I'm really excited. We have an app that's coming out. So we have an app that will be coming out soon that I'm really excited about. So to help with that education and training kind of on demand to meet the needs of our clients as well in the beauty and the health and wellness space. So super excited about that. So we've grown quite a bit this year, but that's again because we had to pivot. The networks that I was telling you about, adding some additional service lines, which we added the videography and photography this year. And so we've been able to continue to grow even despite COVID. So we've been really blessed.
That's a blessing. So many people are, understandably, I mean, down and out as a result of COVID. But anytime that we can speak about success stories and positive momentum and just, seek value for the time that we're in right now. So many people are ready for 2021. And I'm like, don't be so ready for what's to come. It's unpredictable. We were ready for 2020, make sure you value every day in the moment that you're in right now and just take your time. Holly, I feel like the ceiling in my house is going to come through in a moment, so I'm not going to hold you too much longer. The dog and the kid, oh my goodness gracious. But
a lot going on, right?
I end my show asking 7 random questions, just random, like no thought. And I don't really look for you to put too much thought in your responses. I want like impulsive. Okay. Everyone knows the glitz and glamour that comes with Makeup by Holly and, Holly Byrd Miller. But let's ask some random questions to get familiar with things that most people may not know. Okay.
Okay.
Like, for example, do you have like some special diet right now? Like we're in the vegan, vegetarian life of like people don't eat. People don't eat bacon and stuff anymore like they used to. But like before we go there, this has become more acceptable now. I've noticed it, and I hate it. It makes me so mad. Like I'll say, like this is the real moment. I'll tell my son, okay, Daddy's doing some work, right? Daddy's doing some work, and then I'm on the phone and I'm on a Zoom all day. I'm doing this all day, right? And like everyone is like fighting so hard to try to get their kids who's in virtual school to behave or whatever the case is. But the reality is that this is now the reality. And it's almost like it's more acceptable that people recognize like there's going to be error. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just talking before the show, like your dog might just run and fly across the screen. And it's like, to some degree, we got to get comfortable with it, even though it's not comfortable.
No, I mean, and dare I say this is the new norm because nothing about this is normal, and I don't want this to be the standard moving forward. But yeah, I mean, we're all allowing more concessions for life, and I mean, we've all been exposed to so much this year, and I think we're all just giving each other more grace.
Yeah. But when I get off though, I'm not. I'm telling you what, I'm going up there and I'm like, but anyway. So what is Holly Byrd? Is Holly Byrd Miller on some special 2020, nutritional lifestyle, or is Holly still, eating fried food? Like what's going on with Holly on your eating?
So I am a vegetarian and I have been for 8 years, and that hasn't changed. I'm not all of a sudden eating meat and all that. No, that's not gonna, my tummy wouldn't be able to handle it. But I am, I probably drink a little bit more wine than I used to. But no, I'm still trying to eat well because I am home more. I don't have any excuse why I can't prepare my own food, so I'm not eating out as much as I used to. So things are, just trying to make better food choices, just to be healthy, because we got to take care of our bodies. I mean, we see that, COVID is killing those of us who are maybe have underlying health issues and things like that. So just trying to take better care of myself. So I don't really have any specific diets.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that you're going to see a doctor, because they're not really, that could be virtual as well. So definitely got to take care of yourself. All right, that's question number 1. Question number 2. Young Holly. I'm talking about 15-year-old, 16-year-old Holly. Mm-hmm. Who was her celebrity childhood crush?
Oh, celebrity childhood crush. Prince. And he was shorter than me, even at the age of 15, shorter than me, wore more makeup than me, butt out, all the things, but he could still, he was still my man.
Why is it this? I don't know that men will ever understand why women are so in love with Prince. I don't know.
He just has swag for days, and every woman's attracted to swag. I'm sorry.
So if Floyd decides to wear some, I'll just make this question number 3. Can he wear heels to dinner next weekend? Is it okay if he wears heels?
No.
This is a 2-part question.
No.
Do you dress Floyd?
You know what? No. And Floyd is probably the first like I've had boyfriends before him, obviously, because I got married a little bit later in life. But Floyd is the first guy that I did not have to dress. Like Floyd dresses me. Like there are times where I'm like, does this look good? Can you give me a little bit of guidance on this? He has an impeccable sense of style, so he's a pretty put together kind of guy.
Good. Okay. We got 4 more here. 4 more. So, here we go. Will Holly Byrd Miller get the corona vaccine once it comes out?
Ooh. So it's out now, and the answer is no today. I need to see many more thousands of people get it without any side effects. And I came from healthcare. My entire career was in healthcare, so I understand protocols and all of that, and how things go through the FDA and expedited protocols and all of that. But there's still a little too much uncertainty for me right now. But ask me that question 3 to 6 months from now.
Got you.
The answer will probably be yes. The answer will probably be yes.
Got you. If you could work with I'll make this 2 questions, okay?
Okay.
If you could work with any female client, who would it be? Anyone, celebrity or whomever, who would it be?
And Michelle Obama.
Okay, let's stay there for a minute, all right? Let me just make everybody mad right now. Let me just make everybody mad. First off, Michelle has made tremendous improvements, in my opinion, from when she first came in the White House until when she left. I don't know what she did. I'm sure she hired somebody like you.
Oh, yeah.
Had to.
Oh, yeah.
But respectfully, in Black America, don't get mad. But I think we need to stop lying and acting like Michelle Obama is like all of that, because she's not. She's not. I really think that Michelle Obama she's been on every magazine cover, and I get it, but I think that she gets the respect that she gets in the glamour space and all that. She was married to Barack, first off. Let's not act like Barack ain't that dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all love Barack. Y'all love that light-skinned, good-haired man. Y'all know y'all do.
Yes, we do.
But
let's not forget that Michelle can hold her own. Michelle is educated. She was a professional. Educated. She can hold her own.
Yeah, and I'm not taking anything away from her academics. I'm not taking anything away from her intelligence. I'm talking about when I look at the front cover of a magazine, Michelle, I mean, I'm not feeling Michelle. I'm sorry. And you know,
well, here's the thing too, Randy. Here's something you need to know about me and my business model. So we are empowering women to be beautiful from the inside out. And so it's allowing that inner beauty to radiate outward. And no matter what level you're at or what industry you're in. And so Michelle Obama is a beautiful lady on the outside. So, I mean, beauty is the eye of the beholder. She's a beautiful lady on the outside.
She is a beautiful lady.
She's smart. She's caring. She is everything that young women and even women like myself aspire to be. She's a perfect role model. And so for that, I would work with her hands down. I would work with her for free. Like, she wouldn't even have to pay me, because just being in her presence, absorbing her knowledge, her wisdom, her insight would be payment enough.
All right. But if she worked at Macy's as an associate and she had all that stuff that you just said, you wouldn't work with her for free. You would.
Well, no, I wouldn't. Not for free. I mean, I have a business, and so that's the problem that a lot of
she's Michelle Obama. So it's about her name and the prestige that comes with that. That's part of it.
Well, not only that, this is a woman who is super smart, and I love.
Listen, we not talking about smart. We talk about look. Men who listen to me is putting her on the scale, and see, this. I know I look horrible right now, but it's
you really do.
Huh?
You really do.
I know. You know why? Because I'm being honest. And there's people out there that be like, you know what? He's right. There's some people looking at like it's a coin here. You said smart and intelligent. I mean, look, she's not a dime. She's not a 9.
Well, first of all, who created this scale, and what are you measuring that by? What is a dime? What is a 10? No, seriously, what is that? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I need to know what's your definition.
Well, listen, I'm just saying it's a collect. If we're going to talk about the collective number, we're going to take in consideration her intelligence and all of that. Yes. But that I'm talking
should.
about magazine. Look, when a CEO and executive of a listen, Randy Wilson Podcast is coming up with a magazine, and it's going to showcase the most visually attractive women based off money, sales. Like, who's gonna pick up that magazine? Like, I'm gonna buy that magazine. That's all. I'm not talking about your intelligence and all that. I'm talking about, we were just talking about like your industry. You want to be able to pop, or otherwise we're gonna go scroll right by you, right? I'm just saying, Michelle don't pop. She don't pop.
Yes, she does. Randy, I wish I knew you were going to mention this beforehand, so I would already have photos that I could show you, because Michelle Obama is beautiful in and of her own right. She doesn't need the makeup. Nobody needs makeup. Mm-hmm. But if you want her to fit your description of whatever a 10 is to be on the front cover of your magazine, which she has been on the front cover of major magazines.
Yeah. But if she worked at Macy's as an associate or regional manager, nobody would be looking at her and saying, "Oh my God, that's the next magazine."
Yes, they would, because they would have my team making her look like that. Trust me, I don't wake up in the morning looking like this.
I can't argue that.
Supermodels. Cardi B doesn't wake up if I don't know what level of scale you're going to. Cardi B doesn't wake up looking like Cardi B. Beyonce doesn't wake up looking like Beyonce. They have the foundation, yes, but they have a team of hair, makeup, wardrobe, image consultants, all of those people who pull their looks together so that they can make the cover of magazines. And so the same is true for a Michelle Obama lookalike working at Macy's with the right makeup, the hair, the wardrobe, the videography, the lighting, the photography. We can make her look like America's Next Top Model. Anybody can look like that with the right team.
This was a good one. This was good. I'm not gonna argue. If she gets makeup by Holly, now that's a whole different situation. I'm sure. Yes, that's the problem right there. So what about male? What male person would you like to? Ideal.
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
The Rock.
For my own selfish reasons.
Is he wouldn't be a dime, would he?
Yes, he would. Based on your standards.
No. Based off his intelligence and his.
Have you seen the business lines that he has? This man is smart. So don't let the muscles and the good looking face fool you. He's super smart. He's got a tequila line and Under Armour. He's part of like his dossier goes on and on and on. But no, I love working with
his shoulders, his chest, his back,
all of that,
all of that, right? That's what gets him on that cover, right? Okay.
No, but not only that. So he'd be a perfect client because he went from a wrestler, so that's a grungy, grimy, sweaty job. He's walking around in just like his little briefs to like this businessman, mm-hmm. right? And so how does he transition that look from athletics to looking like to sitting at court, in boardrooms with CEOs and making sure that his image, complements those CEOs' image. So he would be an ideal client to make sure that we help to elevate his image so that he can go toe to toe with anybody in a boardroom.
Got you. Last question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Tell people why they should follow the Randy Wilson podcast.
Love it. They should absolutely. People, I'm talking to you guys directly, wherever you are. You should follow the Randy Wilson podcast because Randy is as real as it gets. Like, this guy is authentic. He means what he says. He says what he means. He is all about his community. I love how he is shining a spotlight on his community to make sure that people are aware of who we are. Like, he wants to make sure that everybody has a level playing field and they can highlight their talents, their skills, their products, whatever they are, and give them a level playing field. So I love that's who you are, Randy, at your core. That's the person you've always been since I've known you over the many, many years. And I love that you're in a position now to give other brands, other creatives, a platform to share their talents, their intellect, and their skill set. I just love what you're doing. Keep up the great work. I'm a huge fan. I have always been, and I'm going to continue to rock with you until the wheels fall off.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate it very much. That soundbite there may made me even get me closer to the White House. I don't know. So I'm gonna pitch this to somebody and see if we can both win. I'm gonna say, hey,
right, let's do it.
You get Michelle Obama's makeup. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I can just get a seat up there at the inauguration. Something. All right. It's been fun.
Here's hoping, right? Here's
It's
hoping.
been fun. This is just the beginning. We're gonna do more things together. Okay.
I love it, Randy. Thank you so much again for the invitation. It's been an absolute honor to talk to you and your audience. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Apologize for the dog and the plane that flew over and all those things. But again, this is a real space, and it's a feel-good space, and it's fun. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is episode 55 of the Randy Wilson podcast. Again, we'll see you soon with episode 56. Got some exciting things coming soon. We're almost at the end of the season, so stay tuned and you'll see more. Good night.
Bye, everybody.